The guillotine stands as one of history's most terrifying execution devices. It claimed thousands of lives during the French Revolution and became the defining symbol of the Reign of Terror's violence. Most people might be surprised to learn that this infamous blade continued its deadly work in France until quite recently. Europe saw execution devices that looked like the guillotine as early as the 13th century. The first documented mention shows up in the Old French High History of the Holy Grail from around 1210. That text describes an imaginary but clear picture of a beheading machine. A historical account tells of a similar execution device used in Ireland. The execution took place on April 1, 1307, when Mercad Balloch lost his head near Merton. Those early versions all worked on the same basic idea, a sharp blade that fell from a height to cut off heads quickly. The wealthy and noble classes usually faced beheading, which people thought was more dignified than other brutal ways to die like hanging, burning, or drawing and quartering. Early devices often used crude methods that crushed the neck or relied on blunt force, yet some had crescent blades and hinged yokes to hold the victim still, features that would later show up in the French guillotine. The Halifax gibbet in England and the Scottish maiden stand out as the most important ancestors of the French guillotine. West Yorkshire's Halifax gibbet had two 15-foot or 4.5-meter tall wooden uprights with grooves. Those guided a heavy wooden block with an axe head. The Halifax gibbet broke from tradition by executing anyone who stole goods worth more than 13.5 pence, not just nobles. The blade never needed sharpening, it relied on pure weight to do its job. Records show that Halifax saw nearly 100 executions between 1286 and 1650. The gibbet handed out half of those deaths. Edinburgh welcomed the Scottish maiden in 1564 during Mary Queen of Scots' reign. That portable death machine stayed in service until 1710 and took more than 150 lives. Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotine, a physician and National Assembly member, started the guillotine's French chapter. He presented 6 articles on October 10, 1789, during debates about France's penal code that would change French execution methods forever. Those articles included subjects such as standardization of punishment nationwide and elimination of torture during execution. Enlightenment thinkers like Voltaire and Locke shaped Dr. Guillotine's ideas as he looked for more humane ways to execute people. Many think he supported capital punishment, but some historical evidence suggests he wanted to end it eventually. His proposal highlighted equality, the lifeblood of the French revolutionary ideology. He wanted execution to be similar for everyone, whatever their social status. He declared, quote, "The criminal shall be decapitated. This will be done solely by means of a simple mechanism." The Legislative Assembly backed Guillotine's ideas in 1791. French surgeon Antoine Louis teamed up with a French harpsichord maker to create the first prototype. Unfortunately, it couldn't guarantee a quick death, which France's chief executioner needed. Schmidt worked on Louis' design at his workshop. There, teamwork created a device that worked better than first planned. Schmidt ran grim tests to check if the machine worked as intended. He tested it on animals and dead convicts. The guillotine took its final shape only after those trials succeeded. Schmidt painted the machine blood red as a final touch, creating the iconic look that became a revolution symbol. King Louis XVI himself suggested using an angled blade instead of a curved one. People first called the machine a Louisette after Dr. Louis, yet it ended up carrying Guillotine's name, a bitter twist for someone who had hoped his invention might help end capital punishment one day. A clever mechanical design hid behind the guillotine's simple appearance. The device combined key parts that ensured it operated as efficiently as possible. The guillotine's most important technical feature was its angled blade instead of a straight one. The angled blade cut with a slicing motion rather than just dropping straight down. That worked like a chef's knife in the kitchen, slicing cuts better than pushing straight down. The angled design meant less friction when cutting through the wider back of the neck. A straight blade would have hit the whole neck at once and needed much more force, possibly failing to cut all the way through. The angled edge touched a smaller area first, which focused the force better. The blade worked at peak efficiency with minimal force. That design made sure decapitation happened quickly and fully, no matter the person's size. The steel blade weighed about 15 pounds or just under 7 kilograms, and the weight block added approximately 66 more pounds or 30 more kilograms. That weight plus the angled design made the blade deadly effective. The guillotine was ready for its grim public debut after successful tests on bodies at the Bicêtre hospital. The guillotine's arrival in France became a turning point that would connect the mechanical device with revolutionary bloodshed forever. The execution machine changed from a theoretical tool of humane justice into a symbol of revolutionary power that the new French Republic used against its enemies. Nicolas Jacques Pelletier, a convicted highwayman, became the device's first victim. Chief Executioner Charles Henry Sanson operated the machine and brought death so quickly that it caught onlookers off guard. Dr. Guillotine wanted to create a more humane execution method, but the crowd felt disappointed. The guillotine's quick efficiency left many spectators unsatisfied compared to traditional methods like hanging or breaking on the wheel, which gave them a longer show. Some people shouted, quote, "Bring back our wooden gallows." The crowd's original reaction didn't matter, though. The guillotine soon became the symbol of revolutionary justice. Guillotine executions eventually became theatrical public spectacles that pulled in huge crowds. Parisians in the 1790s had few entertainment options, and these executions provided a rare diversion. The Place de la Révolution became the spot where people across social classes gathered to watch the grim ritual. Smart vendors made money from the crowds by selling execution souvenirs and printed programs with lists of the condemned. Nearby businesses jumped on the trend too. Restaurants named Cabaret de la Guillotine displayed their catch-of-the-day lists of victims and hosted shows with satirical songs and poems. The guillotine's efficiency could handle 12 people every 13 minutes. That turned executions into a production line of death that some viewers found disappointing because it was too quick and clinical. The guillotine's influence reached way beyond the execution grounds into daily French life. Revolutionary women wore guillotine-shaped earrings as fashion statements. The executed person's friends and family wore red ribbon chokers to remember their loved ones. Miniature guillotines standing 2 feet tall became popular toys. Kids used those working models to behead dolls and sometimes small rodents. The practice worried people so much that some towns banned them. The upper classes also participated in the macabre trend. Fancy drawing rooms had novelty miniature guillotines to slice bread or fruit at dinner parties. Museums displayed wax molds of severed heads. People collected guillotine pendants, patches, and tabletop models. That strange merchandising shows how the guillotine exceeded its purpose as an execution device to become an everyday cultural symbol. The guillotine ended up sparking fierce moral debates, though it was first promoted as more humane. People started questioning Dr. Guillotine's promise that victims, quote, "won't feel a thing." Public opinion turned against the machine as stories about conscious severed heads became widespread. Some scholars suggest the guillotine might be less cruel than modern execution methods in spite of that. The guillotine's blade dropped in half a second, causing near-instant death. That contrasts with lethal injection's track record of extending suffering, including a 43-minute execution in 2014 and another that took 2 hours. Such comparisons raise difficult questions about what makes an execution humane in any time period. Those controversies mirror larger debates about capital punishment. Because of that, France ended up abolishing the death penalty completely in 1981. The guillotine's influence reached far beyond France's borders and lasted long after the French Revolution, becoming a worldwide tool for state executions. The device became popular with the Third Reich and Nazi Germany. Nazi authorities executed approximately 16,500 people by guillotine in 20 execution facilities between 1933 and 1945. Berlin's Plötzensee prison carried out up to 17 beheadings each day during peak periods. Several countries adopted the guillotine as their execution method. Belgium used it until 1863. Sweden used it from 1903 to 1910. Greece kept it until 1913, and Vietnam used it into the 1960s under French colonial rule. The final person to face the guillotine in France was Hamida Djendoubi, a Tunisian immigrant found guilty of torturing and murdering his former girlfriend. His execution took place at Beaumet's prison in Marseille on September 10, 1977. That marked the last time the device was used in Western Europe. The execution method never seemed to become popular across the Atlantic and the Americas. Its only recorded use in North America was the French territory of Saint-Pierre-et-Miquelon off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. It had very minimal recorded use in South America. The guillotine has captured people's imagination and horror like few other execution devices in history. The machine was designed to be a humane, state-of-the-art method for capital punishment. Instead, it became a lasting symbol of revolutionary terror. We can learn a lot about society's changing views on death, justice, and spectacle by looking at the guillotine's development from early European beheading machines to its infamous role in the French Revolution. Dr. Guillotine wanted to create a quick and equal method of execution, but his name became forever associated with state-sanctioned death. The ethical questions about the guillotine remain relevant today. Scientific evidence suggests victims might have experienced brief consciousness after decapitation. That discovery challenged the humane justification for the machine's creation. These debates helped France eventually abolish capital punishment completely. The guillotine reminds us how state-of-the-art technology can serve both progress and cruelty. Though we no longer use it, its impact stays in our collective memory. It forces us to face uncomfortable truths about justice, punishment, and our constant fascination with the machinery of death. Thanks for watching This Is Monsters. New episodes are uploaded twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. There are occasional bonus episodes covering unsolved cases in criminal history. If you have a suggestion for a case you think I should cover, leave it in the comments. You can always follow the channel on Instagram at thisis_monsters and purchase merch at thisismonsters.com. Thanks so much, and be safe.